What is good, everybody? It's your boy Taco, and today we're back with another video on the main channel. And legal tampering starts tomorrow. Legal tampering, I believe, is just like players can say, oh, I signed with this team, even though it'll really take them 2 days later to actually sign the contract. So I have 100 free agents here. Let's see. I have 8 quarterbacks, 11 running backs, 10 wide receivers, 6 tight ends, 16 offensive linemen, 16 defensive linemen, 10 linebackers, and 21 corners that I'm going to go over inside this video. They probably aren't the top 100 players, but they're probably the 100 most interesting, even though some of these guys are very not interesting. Let's just get right into it, and let's start off with the quarterbacks. And let's start off with the only guy that I think is guaranteed a starting job with this team that he's going to. That's Jimmy Garoppolo. I think that he's going to go to the Commanders. I don't trust the Commanders saying, oh, Sam Howell's going to be our starting quarterback. I have him signing for 1 year, $15 million, just a quick little deal. Prove it deal. See if you want to keep him for the future. Then you could sign him to more long-term. And that's kind of the same thing for this next player. We got Jacoby Brissett. I have him going to the Falcons on a little 1 year, $10 million deal. I could say that he could be the starting quarterback, but if he is a starting quarterback, it's for somebody to come up. It's for a rookie to come up and take his spot. Or he'll just be fighting with Ritter, and they'll have another mediocre to crappy year. But who really knows? The time that this is recorded, let me give you some context, and it's super dark, so I'm going to turn this light on. Let me give you some context. Just search NFL News. This was recorded. Most recent thing to happen was the Daron Payne signing. So yeah, that's pretty much that. Let's just get right back into this. So all the news and rumors that you might see whenever you see this, I have not seen yet. But I have seen Baker Mayfield being rumored to Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which is where I'm going to have him going. Baker, he's okay. He'll compete for a starting job maybe with Kyle Trask, or if the Buccaneers draft a guy, which I don't think they'll be able to get any of those top 4 guys, and there isn't really too much past that can start. So I think Baker gets another shot here in Tampa. And then I have Carson Wentz for a 2-year, $25 million deal. I have Carson Wentz here. He's going to be a backup, but hey, because he's Carson Wentz, he's going to know that he just wants to play a little bit more football. So he's going to get 6 games while Kyler Murray's hurt, be a backup on the Cardinals for $8 million. I have Sam Darnold staying. He'll be a mentor / maybe guy to compete for the starting job in Carolina, like the way that Tyrod Taylor was or something like that, but I have him staying in Carolina. I have Minshew going to the Jets. Yeah, in this whole scenario, I don't have Aaron Rodgers being anywhere, so anything's kind of open. He won't have his decision made by the time all these guys are signed. Which is also why I had Taylor Heinicke going to the Green Bay Packers. We've heard at least some rumors about that, I think, on a 2-year, $35 million deal. Who knows? Maybe he wins over Jordan Love. Maybe they just want Jordan Love to start and they don't sign anybody. Maybe we can see a genuine competition between these two. And then Teddy Bridgewater, I have him sort of competing for a starting job. They'll probably draft a quarterback, but with Vegas for a $15 million 1-year deal. Most of, quarterbacks and running backs, well, quarterbacks, I gave them 1-year deals just because of the way that they are. Running backs, I mostly gave them 1 to 2 year deals because you just don't pay running backs a ton of money, but a lot of these other positions, you'll see long-term contracts. So let's just get right into the running backs. First guy is Jamal Williams. He's not leaving. I have him staying in Detroit on a 2-year, $15 million deal. they definitely don't want to get rid of him. He probably doesn't want to leave Detroit. He wants to win inside of Detroit. I have Miles Sanders going to the Panthers. This seems like kind of a weird fit. I don't think it is. I think, he'll be able to work with whoever their new quarterback is. Just be a little bit of a safety blanket. And I don't know if he's a guy that's going to want to value success, because then you wouldn't really go to the Panthers. But I have him going there on the biggest running back deal of 3 years, $35 million. He's probably the best running back here. Raheem Mostert, I have him staying with the Dolphins, just a quick $7 million deal. Deontay Foreman, former Panthers running back, he's going to go to the Eagles, so I have them making a little switch. I don't know if he'll be the main running back. I don't know if we're going to run kind of a three-headed monster with him, Gainwell, Scott. I don't know if we're going to draft a guy. But, yeah, him coming to the Eagles, that'll be a good thing for our team. Especially because we're losing, like, every single other player in the entire freaking NFL. But, yeah, Jeff Wilson, I have him just going somewhere. I just said the Colts, but, like, he could kind of go anywhere on a little $5 million deal. Dave Montgomery, I think the Rams aren't a stupid option, even though now I just saw I'm going to have to switch Damian Harris. Sure, all right, I just picked the team. Rams, 2 years, $18 million. He can be a starting running back. He can be a quality running back. He showed that he's a quality running back at some points. He was top 5 in rushing 1 year. So, yeah, who knows? But I think that he can be pretty good. Devin Singletary, he's gonna go to he's gonna re-sign with Buffalo. A little $7 million deal. Kareem Hunt, I have him creating a dynamic duo. Houston's gonna have an amazing run game, and they're not gonna be able to pass the ball, but they're gonna have a good run game. 2 years, $16 million. Rashad Penny, going to Chicago, replacing David Montgomery. Working with Khalil Herbert. Damian Harris, I did have him going to the Rams, but now I just thought of a random team, and I said the Ravens, but the Ravens also makes no sense. So let's say he's going to go to the... Do you know what? The Chiefs. The Chiefs can have a running back. The Chiefs could just have another running back. 2 years, $12 million. And Alexander Madison staying in Minnesota, but that one's not a big one. I just had to get to 100. Adam Thielen, recently released by the Vikings. I think that he's going to go to Buffalo on a little 2 year, $20 million deal. Jacoby Myers, I have the Bears making a ton of moves because the Bears just have so much cap space. 4 years, $50 million to the Bears. DJ Chark, I'm going to have him help whoever this person is, with the first overall pick. 2 years, $25 million with the Panthers. Beckham, I have him going to Atlanta because I have a Madden franchise and he's on my team and he's pretty good. But, I mean, Atlanta's got to spend its money somewhere, and they probably need another receiver. Compliment Drake London, and whoever their third is going to be, Olamide Zaccheaus. They could draft a guy like Booty in the second round. Who knows? Then you have Allen Lazard. I have him going to Kansas City just because they stack up on a bunch of stuff. And Juju and Hardman, I have leaving. Speaking of Juju, I have going to the Tennessee Titans. They need a receiver. They need a more physical receiver, in my opinion. Even though Burks is kind of that, but Juju plays a little bit differently. 3 years, $35 million for him. I have Slayton staying with the Giants. 3 years, $30 million. I have Julio retiring. That's the only retirement that I have on here. But, like, yeah, and sure, just because then it's not 100 and you're going to start yelling at me. Ashton Dullin's going to stay with the Colts. You happy? McCole Hardman, I think Denver's going to pick up a little bit of a speedy pick. Denver has to make some moves in free agency. And while I actually have quite a few moves for them coming on the defensive side of the ball, I think that McCole Hardman can be a really nice player. 3 years, $30 million, and if they can scheme it right, which we saw what the Saints did with Deontay Harris. Now you're just having a better Deontay Harris, and the same head coach. It could be pretty good. And Nelson Aguilar is going to stay in New England on a little 1-year, $8 million deal. Tight ends. I only have 6 here. I have Dalton Schultz. He's going to go to Miami on a 4-year, $40 million deal for Mike Gesicki, who is leaving, who I think is going to go to the Lions, also on a $10 million a year deal, this time for 2 years. And I have the same exact deal for Hayden Hurst going back to his old team, 2 years, $20 million. I also have Robert Tonyan going back to his old team, 3-year, $25 million. I then have Foster Moreau. I saw, the estimated contract value, $9 million for him. And these things were a little crazy. For example, Marcus Davenport is not getting $23 million. And who else was really crazy? Oh, yeah, Rock Ya-Sin is not a $12 million corner. Taylor Rapp is definitely not a $15 million safety. But, yeah, just some kind of crazy stuff that I remember because I was just looking at the free agents on a list when I made this. But, yeah. I have him going to the Jets, 3 years, $19 million. The Jets don't really have a stud tight end, and I don't think that they're going to get one in this draft. And then I have Donald Parham staying for a little $6 million deal. Offensive line, and let's just start off with the biggest guy here. Maybe literally, I think he's 6'8". Orlando Brown going to Chicago, being a Justin Field protector. 5 years, $100 million. I have Taylor Lewan here. He might want to go to a contending team, which is what I have for him. I have him going to Cincinnati. 2 years, $28 million. Which is pretty expensive. Donovan Smith, it said that he deserved $18 million. Which I actually looked and he was actually pretty good. And I messed up. I don't have a team here. Let's just say that he's staying in Tampa Bay. 3-year, $45 million. Jason Kelce, he's a free agent. But, he had a podcast, and he, totally associated himself with the Eagles. Completely. And this podcast was a day ago. 2 days before legally being able to sign with another team. He's just Eagles, 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 Eagles. He's staying with the Eagles, is the point. Seumalo, I have the Colts getting a guy. We've heard a lot about the Colts. They have Shane Steichen, which Isaac Seumalo was a big part of that Shane Steichen run game that was super effective in 2021 and 2022. I have Kaleb McGary going back to the Falcons on a little prove-it deal because he didn't play too much. He only really had 1 real year. Otherwise, he was injured, and he sucked in his rookie year. But he played pretty good. Good enough for people to say that he's making a ton of money. I think he's going to get a prove-it 1 year, $12 million deal. A team that needs an offensive guard is the Dolphins. And I have them getting Nate Davis. Honestly, I don't know this guy. But he looked pretty highly rated on a bunch of other people's page. 4 years, $30 million. I don't know a ton of these linemen. Same as, I didn't know Garrett Bradbury was a top 10 center in the league. I have him going to the Cardinals, 4 years, $50 million. Connor McGovern, top 10 tackle in the league, going $12 million a year to Houston, which is an overpay, but Houston. So you kind of have to overpay. And you'll realize I have a lot of, basic things. I have a ton of 2-year, $25 mil, 4-year, $45 mil, 3-year, $40 mil, 20, a bunch of kind of the same contract. That's because once you get over $15 million on a contract, you sign really weird amounts, 21.675, and I'm not predicting that. I'm predicting kind of basic numbers. I have Mike McGlinchey going to the Giants. They have Evan Neal. Don't know who's on the other side, even though I feel like I should. And Evan Neal also sucked, even if the guy on the other side is good. So you can fit in. Wes Shezweeder is another guy who I had no clue who he was, but his estimated value was at $14 million. So I guess I have him staying with Washington, 2 years, $20 million. That spot rack thing is insane. Spot rack? Yeah, spot rack. Isaiah Wynn, I have him staying with the Patriots. The Patriots, I just don't feel like they're going to lose a cornerstone tackle like that, especially for a young quarterback. 4 years, $45 million. He played really well. Bradley Bozeman, Jacksonville, 2 years, $18 million. He came from the Panthers. He was pretty good with the Panthers. Jawan Taylor, I have him staying in Jacksonville as well, even though this time someone's staying. 3 years, $40 million. The Jags want to protect Trevor Lawrence, obviously. Now we have another guy who I have no clue who this kid is. Ethan Pocic. There's no shot his name is Pocic. You know, I'm looking at his Pro Football Reference. But, let me just memorize those two guys. I have Ben Powers, who was a guy who was on the Ravens. Pretty much, I think, just part of the Ravens system. So, it seems like I'm just going to have him staying back there. 3 years, $25 million. Where can I see where to pronounce his name? I want to see it pronounced. But yeah, and then I have Dalton Risner. He is going to go. They don't even have his freaking name pronunciation. That's hard. Pocic? Pocic? I don't know. That's annoying. Anyways, I have Dalton Risner. I have him going to the Niners. The Niners are going to want to continue that strong run game. Losing Mike McGlinchey, this time getting a guard. 2 years, $15 million. Now we move on to the defense, and I'm already 17 minutes into this video. Frank Clark, I have him going to Cleveland, who is losing Jadeveon Clowney on a 2 year, $20 million deal. And then I have Javon Hargrave, which if you go on like the NFL.com, the most known free agent list, 1 is Javon Hargrave, 2 is Orlando Brown. I have them both going to Chicago. This one for $16 million a year, which I might change with the news of Daron Payne to like $18 million a year instead of $16 mil. I don't know why I'm editing it. I don't care about this list ever again. So 3 year, $54 million for Javon Hargrave. Yannick Ngakoue. I have him going to Atlanta because like Atlanta also has a ton of cap room, but what are they really going to use it on? So let's just say they're going to use it on Yannick Ngakoue, 2 years, $25. Marcus Davenport, I've heard some crazy big numbers. I think that Detroit needs some defensive line presence, and I have him going to Detroit, 3 years, $40 million. Oh, I got the hiccups, dang it. Let's hope I can finish this. I have Zach Allen. I've heard some good things about Zach Allen. He doesn't look too amazing. He only had 6 sacks, but apparently he's extremely good, and that seems like something Vegas would do. Sign a guy who seems extremely good. And you'll see another Vegas D-lineman get signed, and you'll realize exactly what I'm talking about. This one, 3 years, $25 million. Draymond Jones. I don't know how Philly's going to do it, but Philly's going to do it. 3 years, $30 million, just because Philly. Howie Roseman. I'm biased, even though if I was biased enough, I would have made us re-sign TJ Edwards, Kaiser White, Miles Sanders, James Bradbury, CJ Gardner-Johnson, all these other guys that I would want much more than Draymond Jones. So you're lucky. David Onyemata, he's kind of old. That's why I only gave him a year deal, but Seattle needs some defensive presence. I think that they're going to draft a defensive end with their top pick. I think Tyree Wilson could be a good guy for them. So just a year, $10 million, but solid pickup for Seattle. Leonard Floyd just recently cut. And Denver, I feel like they need an edge rusher. Randy Gregory wasn't it. Bradley Chubb's gone. I don't really think that they have an amazing guy to do that. So I have Leonard Floyd going there. 3 years, $45 million. Abukum, Panthers. I just need somewhere for him to go. So yeah, they're $16 million. And I have 4 guys all getting the same amount of money that if you said 3 years ago that they were all going to get the same amount of money, you would have called me crazy. I got Drew Tranquill, Bud Dupree, Jadeveon Clowney, and Poona Ford all on a 1-year, $7 million deal. Tranquill is going to stay to the Chargers. Bud Dupree is going to go to the Saints. Clowney is going to go to the Raiders. That's what I was talking about. Poona Ford is going to go to the Jets. A'Shawn Robinson and Sheldon Rankins are like the exact same person. I have A'Shawn Robinson going to Cleveland, 2 years, $10 million, just to be kind of a rotational defensive tackle. Kind of the same thing for Sheldon Rankins, this time in Minnesota. And speaking of Minnesota, guy that they're losing, reason why I had Sheldon Rankins going there, is Dalvin Tomlinson. Dalvin Tomlinson, another solid space-eating defensive tackle. Miami, 2 years, $15 million. Greg Gaines, I have him staying with the Rams, 2 years, $13 million. Kind of the same thing as all these guys. All these, like, not too good interior defensive linemen that I just put in here to get to 100 because saying top 87 didn't look right. So, top 100. Not top 100. 100 free agents. That looks good. So, that's why all those people were in there. I have, now moving on to linebackers, even though I just realized I had Tranquill, who's a linebacker, on D-line, but who cares? I have Lavonte David for the Packers, 1 year, $10 million. Just a captain there. He probably doesn't really want to compete. He's old. He already has a Super Bowl. So just a quick year deal. Be captain of a defense that it seems like pretty needs it. Quay Walker did nice last year, but you can still improve, and he can still play, outside linebacker. They run a 3-4. Oh, they have Rashawn Gary. He can play. TJ Edwards, he's leaving. He's young, so I had him have a 4-year deal worth quite a lot of money. $40 million. Did the screen just shake? I don't know. That mouse is probably annoying. 4 years, $40 million to the Chargers. I have Eric Kendricks going to Atlanta on a 2-year, $20 million deal. Just, I don't know. I don't really have anything to think about him. I have Tremaine Edmonds going to the Broncos. The Broncos, they're going to stock up this defense that was already really good. And as long as they build on this offense and hopefully the coaching works, you could actually see the Broncos say what people have been expecting the Broncos to do for 6 years, which was have like a 10-6 record. And they never did it. Now 10-7, but shut up. Bobby Wagner, he probably wants another ring. He got a ring, right, with Seattle. Yeah. He probably wants another ring, so I have him going to Cincinnati. Cincinnati needs a linebacker. They're losing Jermaine Pratt. They don't really have too much else. 2-year, $22 million. David Long, Titans linebacker. Don't know a ton about him, but I know Houston needs a linebacker. He could be an edge rusher for all I know. Houston also needs an edge rusher. Houston needs everything. I should shut up. 3 years, $25 million. Kaiser White, Pittsburgh. Another team that needs a linebacker that just flies to the ball and gets tackles. 2 years, $18 million. Cole Holcomb and Caden Ellis, two guys I have staying on their home team. of Washington, New Orleans, and 2 guys that I just put on here to get 100. That's really the same for most of these, but I mean, I have them on the list. Holcomb, 3 years, 18. Kane Ellis, 2 years, 14. Now to cornerbacks and safeties. Did the screen just move again? I don't know. I might be going a little crazy in my head. But Marcus Peters to the Cardinals. It doesn't make a ton of sense, it would seem. But, say Wentz does okay. Murray does good. The rest of the team does okay. These teams sneak into the playoffs, and that's where all these old people coming in makes at least a little bit of sense. Jesse Bates, I know the Dolphins have a stacked offense, just traded for Jalen Ramsey, but they don't have a safety, and they have the money, so I gave them Jesse Bates. It seems unfair. That's such a great secondary, but it's possible, and it's needed, and they're able to do it, and there's nothing more about the NFL than teams looking overpowered and then having like 5 or 6 wins. So, yeah. I have Jimmy Ward staying because he talked all that crap on Twitter, and it would be pretty funny to talk all that crap just to leave your team so you can't get revenge the way that you would want. Jordan Poyer, this is where Dallas, I think it's the first time we've had Dallas this whole video, comes in. 2 year, $24 million. I know Jordan Poyer wants to play on a contender, and he wants contender. The Cowboys are a quote-unquote contender, probably in his eyes. And he wants no state income tax. And Dallas has no state income tax. I wish Pennsylvania could do that, but we can't. And also, I don't pay taxes, so I don't really care. C.J. Gardner-Johnson, I wish he could stay. But he signs the biggest non-trench deal. 4 years, $65 million. And I have him going to the Patriots. The Patriots just seem like the kind of team that can move him around, do all this fun stuff with him, and just be able to use him the right way. James Bradberry going to Vegas. 2 years, $28 million. Not too much to say, except James Bradberry's going to Vegas, and that's great. Yeah. I wish we could keep him from holding and could keep him from other teams. But, yeah. Jonathan Jones going to Buffalo, kind of a division rival kind of thing. 3 years, $40 million. Apparently, he's super good. I don't know a ton about Jonathan Jones. I mean, I know he's good, but I don't know a ton about Jonathan Jones. And Buffalo kind of need a cornerback too, right? They have Kyer Elam, but he's not amazing, and he's also a slot corner. No, Jonathan Jones is a slot corner. He's an outside corner. Maybe he's a slot. I don't know. Von Bell, Houston. Houston has money too. So I had to have some players go to Houston. 2 years, $18 million. Deshaun Elliott, apparently really good. Going to Cleveland on a 3-year, $27 million deal. Cleveland, they released John Johnson. They must need a safety. I don't know whatever happened to Grant Delpit, if he's good or not, but I know that he came out the draft a few years ago. Don't know much about him. Jamal Dean going to Jacksonville. Jacksonville, I think they're losing Shaq Griffin. Yes, they're losing Shaq Griffin. And they probably just want a corner. They have enough money to get one, so why not just give him Jamal Dean? Cameron Sutton, I've heard him and Pittsburgh have been working on a deal for weeks. So I know that he's testing the open market, but I don't think that he's really testing the open market. 3 years, $25 million for him. Byron Murphy, Baltimore. I don't know if we've seen Baltimore a lot after they gave Lamar Jackson the franchise tag. But, yeah, Baltimore for Byron Murphy, a team that needs a quarterback, a corner, a team that's losing a corner. and a team that just likes defensive players and likes young defensive players. Then we go to Shaq Griffin, who is leaving Jacksonville, going to Dallas. I have 3 years, $40 million. Don't know if Dallas, I think they're losing Anthony Brown, which I didn't put on here. But, yeah, okay. Good corner, I guess. I mean, he's getting paid $13 million. Yeah, he's a good corner. I have a lot of DBs getting a lot of money because I think that DB is the strongest part of this draft. I have Patrick Peterson here because I need to get to 100. 1 year, $6 million. I have Rock Ya-Sin. I didn't know Rock Ya-Sin was ever good. I know he got traded for Ngakoue, but I thought that was like the Raiders just giving up on Ngakoue. I didn't know Rock Ya-Sin was actually decent. I have him going to Detroit. Who's Detroit losing here? I don't know if they're losing Deshaun Elliott, but I don't know if they're losing a corner. They just don't have many good ones. They have Owarrior. Yeah, I don't even think that they drafted one. They just need a corner, and that's a good corner to have. Apparently, he's pretty good. Donovan Wilson staying with Dallas. Safety. Dallas doesn't really have any other safeties. And I have them signing Jordan Poyer, but Jordan Poyer, Donovan Wilson. Yeah, good safety core. 4 years, $35 million because he's pretty young. That's why I have him long-term deal. John Johnson. Good player released by the Browns for some reason. So I have him going to Tennessee. 1 year, $9 million. They just need a guy. They have Kevin Byard. But they probably just want another guy, and they have a lot of money. So why not? I started to give up at this point. I was just naming random teams, I'll be honest. Because I had to do a lot of schoolwork today. Julian Love going to Vegas, 4 years, $35 million. He's a corner, so they're getting a lot of corners. They're losing Rock Ya-Sin. They didn't really have any other corners. I thought that they had no corners, but they had Rock Ya-Sin. Yeah, good player. He's pretty young. He came from the Giants, so 4 years, $35 million for him. Taylor Rapp, former Ram safety, apparently worth $12 million, but he's not, and he's going to Chicago, and Chicago's overpaying him still. But 3 years, $27 million, a lot better, at least, of a deal. Adrian Amos, number 99, is going to Jacksonville. Quick 1 year, $7 million deal. They just maybe need another safety, and Amos just, I mean, it's like kind of a contender, maybe. Who knows? If they improve the way that seems like they could improve, they're a contender. And then finally, I had a special teams guy at 100, or mainly a special teams guy, technically a corner. Jeremy Reeves, Pro Bowl special teamer. New England lost a Pro Bowl special teamer, and I think that they just want a special teams captain. So Jeremy Reeves, New England, 2 year, $12 million. Maybe an overpay for a special teamer, but who knows? So yeah, that's 100 guys. That's gonna be it for this video. This video might get posted tomorrow to the point where half of these picks are gonna be wrong, but hopefully I can get it out tonight. And I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.